read today that they said Daniel was probably 15 when he was taken to Babylon, and they at that point turned him into a eunuch. That means he wasn't able to have kids, so he wouldn't take over the royal lineage. And then these were workers that worked for the king.
你看，但是但以理从但以理那个也是一个得胜者。但以理15岁的时候，大概是年轻，像他儿子一样，泡的儿子那么年轻的时候，他就跟另外4个年轻貌美的俊美的少年的话，就被巴比伦那个王抓到他们那个宫殿去，怎么样去给他们学最好的话，怎么去侍奉神，侍奉他们的王。
And so they were men that were known to be trained in all of the wisdom of the Israelis. They knew about God. Daniel is amazing. They said that he ended up being the ruler over all of the known world at that time. He was the helper to the king, and he was helping the king, basically his assistant.
所以的话，但是的话，因为他们拥有的是所有的希伯来的文化，还有所有的那个神的那个从神来的文化，从人来的文化，他们都有。所以的话，他就是被带到巴比伦王面前去，成为王的一个助手。
He told the king, even the king said, "Everybody's going to die. All of my magicians, astrologers, fortune tellers." He had a whole group of them all around him. He said, "Tell me my dream and its meaning. Otherwise, all of you die."
那个巴比伦王，但是要见那个他有异梦，但是他要问他那些所有的那些施法术的，所有的那观星座的等等他的那些助手们说，如果你们不能告诉我的梦是什么意思的话呢，我就把你们全都杀死。
So Daniel, he's praying. He said, "Please give us 3 days. We're going to see God."
然后但以理的话呢，但以理的话就跟王说，你给我3天时间，让我去在神面前祷告。
So they prayed, and then God gave Daniel the vision and the dream and the meaning. He went and told the king, "This is what you dreamed, and this is what it means."
3天以后，那个但以理的话就来到神面前说：“我祷告神，神启示我的话，这就是你的异梦，这就是这个异梦的意思。”
Daniel received many amazing predictions about the future. The names, not the names, but the characteristics of the empires that would follow the Babylonian Empire. The Grecian Empire. After Babylon, there was the Persian Empire, which is Iran, in that general area. Babylon was in Iraq, so then Iran came and took over during Daniel's life. Daniel even prophesied to the last king of Babylon. He said to him, the meaning of those words, because a hand appeared on the wall in Babylon in a great party that same night that Babylon fell. A hand came out, and it wrote in Hebrew some words. Mini, tekel, ufarsi.
所以的话，他那个上帝给那个但以理很多的意象，很多的启示，他做了很多很精准的一个那个，因为上帝给他启示，做了很精准的那个预测。他预测的话，巴比伦那个巴比伦国的那个国怎么亡国，然后波斯马帝国怎么亡国，然后后面还有直到今天的那个罗马帝国。
Imagine that you're sitting at a table, They were drinking out of the temple artifacts that they had brought from Jerusalem. The holy drinking vessels from the temple in Jerusalem, brought them to Babylon, had a drunken party, drinking wine out of them. No wonder God got stirred up and took the kingdom away from them.
为什么他们做的每一项事情都是神看为可恶的？他们是从圣殿里面取那些那个遗物，那些古迹的古物，用那些古物来饮酒，在那巴比伦那个宫殿里面饮酒。
So Daniel, again, very bold. You read in the book of Daniel, he never minced his words. He never held them back when he's talking to the king. He said, "You've been proud. You've disobeyed God." He said, "Now there's going to be judgment." He told Nebuchadnezzar that. And then this last king, Belshazzar, he told him, "Because of your arrogance, now the kingdom is taken from you. Tonight you're going to die."
所以的话，他站在神面前的话，他一点没有畏惧的，就是坦白的，像上帝给他的那个启示说出来。他说，基本上你就要离开这个人间，因为你所做的事情，神已经愤怒了。就是跟那个尼布甲尼撒我们说的。
And just like he said that night, the Medes and Persians from Iran, from that area, they came in through the city. They said that they had diverted the river. Because there was a river that flowed through Babylon. They diverted the river and made their way into the city. And that night, Babylon fell. But Daniel continued to be a leader. And you can read many of his testimonies in here. He even predicted the coming of Jesus. I'd like to read you. This is amazing what Daniel said in Daniel 7:13 about Jesus.
那个波斯王的话，就是在那个他的在那个就像这个但以理的启示一样，他那个波斯的话，后来就把那个巴比伦那个国灭了，因为他们当时巴比伦是用那个水围绕着那个城，但是波斯的话呢，就把用水工改的水道，然后就进去把那巴比伦灭了。
So there was this passage right here. Daniel is predicting the arrival of the Messiah Jesus, and what is amazing is he talks about the Son and the Father. He doesn't just talk about God, but he says the Son, God the Son, will come to the Ancient of Days. It says, I saw in the night visions, behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven, came to the Ancient of Days. They brought him near before him. There was given him a dominion and glory and a kingdom, that all people, nations, and languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion which will not pass away, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed. Daniel 7:13 and 14. And it also, and then it also says, go ahead.
但以理他也预测了这个耶稣的再来啊，他在但以理7章13到14节说到，我夜间的异象中观看，见有一位像人子驾着天云而来，被领到从恒古到恒古常在者的面前，得了权柄、荣耀、国度，使各方各国各族的人都侍奉他。他的权柄是永远的，不能废去。他的国必不败坏。这个说到他不单只是看到那个天国上帝的意象啊，再看到的父和子，就是耶稣和父的这个同时的意象。
So some Jewish people read that, and then they became believers that Jesus was the Messiah.
但很多的犹太人呢，他们不信神，本来是不信神的，不信耶稣的。当他们看到这个经节的时候，他们就真正就知道耶稣就是弥赛亚，他们就要信了耶稣。
There's some amazing things if you search. It's important to search. Don't just take my word for it. But there is, I was listening to Floyd Nolan Jones. He's a famous historian. And he said that the year Jesus died was 8030. He's like the greatest historian in our day with the most ability to research because now we have all this technology. I met him several years ago. And so Floyd Nolan Jones, I've met him personally. He's getting very old, but you can look him up. So he said that from the time Jesus died in 8030 until 8070, when the Romans conquered Jerusalem the final time and flattened it, and the blood came up to the horse bridles, that's how horrible it was. The temple was destroyed. The gold was ripped out of the temple. The whole temple was torn apart and they had burned the whole temple, so that now they had to tear the temple apart to get the gold. So he said that from the time that Jesus died in 8030, he's able to pinpoint the date because of historical writings and triangulation. He said 8030 to 8070, there's records that the temple gates in Jerusalem, it required 20 men to open and close them, and every night after they would close them in the morning, they would find them open by the hand of God only.
所以的话就看到，就是他这个现在的话，他那个鲍认识一个历史家，他就是大概从耶稣基督的1830年到1840年他在世的这个时间的话，那个耶路撒冷的那里面发生的一切这样的事情，当时的罗马军怎么去对那个地方的那个仔细的那个暴政啊、屠杀啊等等啊。
So the gates would open every night with no man touching them, and they said the middle light in the Jewish, the menorah was 7 lamps, and after Jesus was crucified, every night they said that light would go out, just the top one.
他说那个耶路撒冷这个城门的话，是在耶稣基督没有人可以打开它，只有好像似乎只有神才能打开它。但是从那个耶稣基督被钉十字架以后的话呢，不知道为什么就是常常会这样打开。
And other amazing things happened before the Romans ransacked Jerusalem. They said that you could see like a warning sign. There were signs of chariots marching. You could see them in the sky. And they said that a cow, when they brought it to be sacrificed, gave birth to a lamb, like a warning sign to the Jewish people.
很多别的一些意象，或者是那个一些不能解释的那个事情会发生，就好像还有天上有很多的不同的意象，甚至有些人就是从那个 那个献祭的油身上，就可以生产出产出羊来，就不知道为什么这解释不出来的一种很多现象。当时候
You can read about those two in Josephus. They're in his writings, the historian. But all that to say, here's Daniel, and he's predicting Jesus years before. And Daniel even said it will be he gives how many, he calls it weeks, but actually those weeks are sets of 7 years, and he gives a timeline of 69 weeks. From the time that the order is given to build Jerusalem, Daniel said 69 weeks, which is, if you multiply that, so each week is 7 years. So now you have 69 times 7, and you have a number. What's that? Somebody do the math. 69 times 7. You have a phone, Philip?
他这个讲的就是说，那个上帝带你遇到的耶稣什么时候再来的时候，就大概是从他大概说是用69个周，就一周代表7，这个叫7个69的一个意思。
483. There you go, okay? So there's God gave Daniel, a mighty man of God, a true champion of God. He told him from the time that the order goes to rebuild Jerusalem until the Messiah will be 483 years.
他说从这个耶路撒冷被重建到主再来日子大概是483年。
So then my friend Floyd Nolan Jones, the greatest historian in modern times of biblical history, he said this. He said, if you really study it, because his whole thing, he wrote a whole book, the chronology book. I forget the name of it. So he said, if you count it, and I did this before, it doesn't match with our records because some things have changed, he said.
我认识一个很好的一个历史学家，他说在他的看到的话呢，有一点点大致的相同，但是却有一点点不相同，不知道为什么。
But if you research like he'll quote from the Egyptian writings, from all the different Babylonian, all the ancient manuscripts, Berosus, every last one. He puts them all together. The amazing intelligence. And then he says, this is why this is wrong. And then so he said what happened is, at the time after Jesus was crucified, the Jewish people wanted to hide the fact that Jesus was the Messiah. And so what did they do? They changed their history, and they took out some of the Persian kings. So now their history became shortened. And that's why these prophecies that Daniel had written that were in Jewish scriptures no longer appeared to point to Jesus.
所以的话，因为当时这个之间跟但以理现代当代历史学家跟但以理的记载的话呢，年份耶稣再来年份有一点点分别，主要是因为到后来他们发现。